So creativity is really important because it allows you to walk in your path. I believe that's literally the best tool that you can use to walk fully in your path. Without creativity, you don't have like your essence. Like you're not showcasing your essence. So, you don't want to be an NPC out here. You know what I'm saying? So having creativity allows you to effortlessly walk in your path and then to show your spirit that you honor it as well. So it's deeper than rap. You know what I'm saying?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creativity Worth Expressing. I'm your host, Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and today's episode is an interview with music artist Hakeem Prime. We're going to be getting into Hakeem's musical creative journey, how it all started, how it developed. Also, we're going to be talking about some of the challenges he experienced and has overcome. We're going to be discussing as well a couple issues that are happening at the moment within the music industry. And we're going to be diving into his latest album, Detour 2. So stay tuned for that. All that's going to be discussed in this interview. And before we begin, if you would like to help this channel and see Creativity Worth Expressing grow, please give a like, a subscribe, share. And if you would like to help this channel even further, go ahead and check out my link, buymeacoffee.com/truth.h7. All of your help really contributes to helping me make this channel, this podcast, a reality and helping me get more guests in the future and helping it to continue growing. So without further ado, here is my interview with the awesome, the amazing Hakeem Prime. Hakeem, welcome to the channel. How you doing today?
Thank you for having me, man. I'm doing really well. Just living the life that God intended.
Awesome. So before we really get started, can you introduce yourself to the audience and tell them what is
Yeah.
your form of creativity?
Yes. So my name is Hakeem Prime. If you don't know, I'm a singer-songwriter, and that's my form of creativity. I just express my experience through my rapping and singing, and I try to give like a timeless type of feel to my music.
So I see that you have a love for music. Of course, you're now a music artist. But when did you first discover that you have not only a love listening to music, but you had a love to make your own music?
Like what age?
At what moment? It could be, yeah,
Yeah.
whenever.
I think I was about 8 years old, and I always tell people this, but I was the only child for a long time, and there was a time where my cousins would come, and they're a bunch of three, and then turn into four of them. So they would come over and they would be singing and rapping the hottest songs, and I think in amongst of us having a competition and see who knows the words more, we started to love the essence of what music brought to the environment, and it brought some camaraderie with between us of like happy good memories and just competition, as well as being humbled, um and a lot of different things like dancing and so on and so forth. So I think in those moments when I was 8 to 9 years old, I really wanted to like just make music, and we began to write, and it took off from there.
Well, one thing that I find interesting is that you discovered this love for songwriting, for making music already at a young age. However, many other kids out there at a young age, they have amazing dreams, but over the years, those dreams fade away and become non-existent. However,
Mm,
we see in you that dream, it stayed and you worked at it and it is now not just a dream, but it is a reality. How much work did it take over the years for you to transition from this is just a dream to this is going to be my reality?
that's a good question. It took a tremendous amount of effort to keep uh, having awareness for what happiness I was trying to conduct in my life, and to understand that the hobby of music was bringing me to an awareness of self that I wouldn't otherwise have. So it was hard work to keep going and keep realizing that even when people tell me you're not going to make it, or this is not something that you're going to really make money from, or everybody does that. You don't have to keep doing it. I had to find my path in it and to keep working at it, and understanding that, okay, although I'm a fan of it, I still want to build a craft with it. And
Yeah.
now I'm in a position to where I have my craft. I understand what I'm uh, going to give off to the masses when I bring a song. And I think that's the beautiful part of it. When you work so hard to understand what you want to do, it becomes the muscle to where you're flexing it every time that you're just focusing on your work ethic. So it took a tremendous amount of time.
So how many years have you been making music for?
I would say about 14 years now, because it was about 14 years. Um, and it was just, the first couple years, you're just, practicing, working at it. And then um, you have like this spark of something going on. Like, for example, what put me to the forefront was this one song called Try It Again. It got a little bit of traction, and I saw that, okay, I could potentially make money from this full time, but it wasn't enough to where it was like, okay, jump full fledged. It wasn't until I had a song called Slip Up, and then that got a tremendous amount of traction with little to no effort. And then I decided, okay, as far as the business aspect of it all, I should put some backing to this to see if it's going to blossom. And it sure did. Um, I like the independent side. I never like thought about even, trying to sign to a label or anything of that nature. But, you know, who knows what time may tell.
Yeah, and we see that artists are always evolving. We see you. We're seeing your evolution, just right now as we're hearing your story. So I wanted to go back to your origins when you were starting up. Can you walk us through what was going through your mind, younger, when you were making your beats, making your music, and songwriting?
Yeah, it was just about fun. It was just about fun, having a good time, about thinking that I knew the perspective of what artists were doing. So then I would come up with songs that maybe I haven't even experienced. Matter of fact, I would say the majority of the songs that I came up with, I didn't experience. And I would make them sound good enough. But then as I got older, I realized that it was just like I can look back at the songs and maybe they're not as good as I thought they were. And of course that happens a lot of time with artists. But I found that making songs that was about my experience was more wholesome, was more revealing, but also teaching in a way to myself and to whoever's listening. Um, and then so it was fun. It would always just be a fun time um, doing those things, like as a youngster, trying to keep up with whoever is out currently. So yeah, good time.
Yes, I was listening to you on another podcast. I can't remember the name of the podcast, so I can't give credit at the moment. But you were talking about, I think that you for a while were trying to just do freestyle, but
Mhm.
after a while, it's like like wh- like how long were you freestyling, and was it a good for you? Would you say was it a good learning step for where you are today?
Um, freestyling is something that um, it's like spur of the moment thing. Um, so I wouldn't say, I guess, like freestyling. What it helped me learn is that it always is gonna need a polish. Like whatever you sing about or rap about, everything's gonna need a polish. You're gonna need to go back in, rearrange some things, no matter if you wrote it or you freestyled it. I find that freestyling it at times um, brings an essence of like sing, like, because it's like it's almost like a, and those may sound weird to some people, but it's almost like a spiritual journey you're going through with yourself. And sometimes you need to freestyle just to hear what your subconscious wants you to talk about because you are, as a person, going through something. And sometimes you want to write something about something else that maybe you are close to mastering, but there's something inner that you need to finish. And freestyle helps you to understand what that is, if that makes sense.
It's. I think it does in a way. I mean, it's very deep. I think it's kind of philosophical in a sense because it's like I feel like as a writer, sometimes I write my own stories, just personal, but sometimes I think too much and then it doesn't come out.
Mhm.
Sometimes if I just say, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna write whatever comes to my head, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm forcing myself to face what it is, and then later on, of course, I can learn from that and tweak it here and there. But I really like what you're bringing to this podcast about like that spiritual side. It's I think very
Yeah.
enlightening. I would say.
No, yeah, thank you. I mean, it's just everything we do should be, a part of your how you're walking in your path. So, of course, I'm not the first artist to freestyle on anything, but I think just understanding, yourself and having awareness for yourself, um, those things will happen, and you need to really just focus on understanding what you're trying to portray, because a lot of times, as artists, we do come up with things from out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
that's okay as long as you have a narrative and you have an end goal that's respectful and honorable for other people to read or take on. Um, However, when you come from a truth area of experience that maybe you're having trouble with, it's more it's more powerful when you overcome that. So, just food for thought.
Yeah. Now I wanted to go back because you mentioned a couple tracks that you put out there that I think got a lot of attention. And then you were saying to yourself, "Man, I can really make a living off of this." Can you take us back when these songs started blowing up and you started getting more attention? How did you feel?
Like, for example, when my the first song that ever kind of actually got traction was "Try It Again," and I kind of always do these breakup type songs, and uh, that was the first time I'm realizing that maybe I can do something with my truth with the song "Try It Again," and when it was getting traction, I was getting like messages from people in Seoul, Korea, and the UK, and German. So it's just like I was like, people in Germany are knowing my music. So it's just like I was kind of not understanding how it was relatable to them. So that's when it clicked for me with that song "Try It Again" that your experience can be viewed in so many different ways, and someone's actually possibly going through that same thing or had already gone through it, and they're just seeing your art, and they're like, "Wow, you made it sound effortlessly easy the way you went through that," or you know, effortlessly, like as if you didn't cry over it or something, or as if you didn't worry about it or something. And that's the beautiful part of it. So I really was like I was brought to excitement about a lot of different things initially with that "Try It Again" song, and then of course "Slip Up," and I it always just brings me to humbles me, man. Really, it humbles me and makes me realize that I gotta really focus and make some great songs,
And that's
because it's a beautiful thing.
that's awesome. Also, that you're saying that there are fans from all over the world, Germany, Korea, who are reaching out and contacting you. How does that
Yeah,
make you feel as an artist when you get contacted by fans from all around the world saying how much your music has impacted them?
it feels great, man. It feels great. It really humbles me because I'm not the type of person that I would have thought making music that I was making, I would have touched people outside of just my facility, my surroundings. So I just was like trying to get things out. And I realize there's a bigger path to it all. So it really feels great when someone even gives me like some advice on what to do next or what to talk about next. Um, and it doesn't really matter where they are. Like, it really is, it's a sight to see, and I feel great that I have the opportunity to be able to speak to those people who do reach out because they really show me that they're interested. Um, other people are just, high buyers and maybe they'll say, "Oh, that sucks" or something. That's not a good song. But the ones who actually are interested and actually message me, and I still have some relationships to this day, with some people who, man, been listening to my music for now almost close to 10 years, you know, um, and supporting me. So I feel really great about it, man.
Yeah, that's cool. And I like to hear that you're feeling great because one of the things that I like to highlight on this podcast is that every creative person who comes on the show has their own journey. And I just love it when people can come here and share what they love and what they're passionate about and also how they're able to connect with other people. I think that's something awesome and powerful as well. So, so now I wanted to go back because you've mentioned how you were starting your music, and at the moment, I think you are coming out with a new album. Is that correct?
So I just came out with an album titled Detour 2. Detour 2 was an album that I created. Of course, it's a sequel from Detour, which was a mixtape that I released on thatpiff.com. Thatpiff.com is no longer available, but you can still find the Detour 1 on my SoundCloud at Hakeem Prime. And, you know, Detour 2 has been really great for me. I mean, originally, the first year we did over uh, 5 million streams. Now collectively, it's like over 8 million streams. So it's about 9.2 million streams. So that is the one I'm most proud about, um, currently. And that's the one that is really near and dear to my heart right now.
So let's go back for a moment to the original Detour.
Sure.
What are some challenges that you faced post production that you can share about with us?
Hmm. Post production with Detour 1. You know, I guess with Detour 1, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there was any challenge because
Uh,
the most challenging thing I guess would have been the song selection because since it was a mixtape, you're eager to want to put all of the songs on there. So I had about close to 16 songs that I wanted to originally put on this. But I thought about like the I don't know, the completion of like just having a smaller catalog, but then it's an EP, right?
mhm.
So I found the perfect 7 songs out of those 16 songs. Um, and I never do that. Like when I do mixtapes, because I had over 40 mixtapes on that Piff. When I do mixtapes, I usually do 16, 18. They rarely are small. And if they are small, they're like 3 tracks. Um, so this one, I found this new way for myself in order to find this craft, in order to kind of tell a story within 7 songs.
Mm.
Because I want the listener to, if they're listening to my music, to understand what I'm going through, or or how I'm visioning these relationships that I possibly am talking about, or if I'm just talking about life. And the Detour 1 was just mostly about life and was mostly about, like, I have a song called New Wave that I did on there, and I felt like everybody, and I was kind of talking about the Boise, Idaho area. I was like, everybody know they the new wave, and that was really empowering for me, and I would hope for my colleagues as well, because you know if you feel like you're at the top of your game, there's guys out here that are performing like every Friday or every other month, and this city doesn't really have a big music scene like Atlanta or like an LA. So these guys are practicing and practicing, and they don't get out of the city.
Yeah.
And there's not too many people who go out to go see these shows because the niche for hip hop or R&B is very small. You know, this is mostly like a country pop area. Um, and then songs like Faith that I dedicated to my baby mama at the time was really just was ongoing to what we were going through in life. And I was, you know, kind of trying to write a love letter to her as well with that. And I was successful with it. She appreciated it. Um, but then you got songs like Peel Off to where I was just talking about, you know, the legal system and, you know, just being me. So it's like, though that one was more so about life, my lifestyle and the things that I was kind of going through as far as, you know, dealing with things in real time. Um, Detour 2 is what I was dealing with in a different setting. But to answer your question, that's the hardships that I face with the Detour 1.
No, it's very enlightening, and I see that it's also you're learning as you're going as well. So, what did you learn? Maybe a better question I could have asked was, what did you learn from the process of making the first album that you were able to carry and maybe even do better when it came to making the second album?
Yeah. So that would be just the replay value.
Hmm.
I did find that when I did keep it to those 7 songs, that the replay value is pretty higher when you get to the last song, and it's kind of like you would want someone to, if they listen to it through, they don't have a problem with hearing that first song again. So that's what I found, and that's what I was able to perfect because now I'm putting out 6, 7 songs, and then I'll have a deluxe album of an additional 2 songs, or you know, at minimum one, you know, but additional 2, 3 songs and a deluxe album. So that way, replay value goes up there, and we did that here with the next album.
So, when you make your music, do you only do the songwriting, or do you also have a hand when it comes to the beats and the sounds?
So typically, like for Detour 1, I did, um, and I am a producer as well. But I made it a point to like branch out, and I'm actually working now with a couple producers. Shout out Q the producer, and I am Bear Beats. Um, I'm going to be working with more producers here in the future. Um, but yeah, I made it a point to branch out because you know there's no collaborative work without other people. So I wanted to make sure that I branched out, and so as far as that creative side. No, I let those guys, like for example, Bear just did the Detour 2. All of the songs except for I'ma Let You Go, which was Dilly Got It Bumping, which is, you know, shout out to him as well. He did a phenomenal job on I'ma Let You Go. And so he just takes the the structure of the song, what I've done. Maybe I sing it or whatever. I come back, the beat's done. And we have this like synergy to where he understands what I'm trying to, you know, convey with these songs. So he knows. And actually I am Bear Beats. He used to be an artist himself. So he understands the flow of things. And we just do a really great job collaborating. And I can't wait to show you guys what else we have in store because we have another album that we're going to release here soon. But that is what I'm focusing on. I think one day I'll get back to producing again, but right now I'm interested in working with other people and branching out and, you know, making sure those things are in play.
Yeah, that sounds super awesome to look forward to. I mean, because already we hear in your voice this excitement that you have not only for your album, but also for your team that has been there with the production and has been also helping out. Because I have spoken with, well, I spoke with another music artist when I just started doing this podcast. And unfortunately, it wasn't a good flow. It was like battle of ideas, battle of the minds arguments, and that sometimes happens in music. But this leads to my a bit of like a segue because I do want to get into your album Detour too. But before we get deep into that, there are some cases that are happening right now in the music industry, and I want to look at two cases in particular. The first one is the Chris Brown case, the lawsuit,
Mm.
and also the Drake UMG lawsuits. What are your thoughts on these things that are happening at the moment? And maybe if you'd want to start with the Chris Brown lawsuit first.
Um, yeah, I mean, defamation of character is a big thing. And I think Chris Brown definitely has a case. I think when you're dealing with corporations that way, uh, we have to really hold them accountable. So if there's an opportunity for you to take them to court, I would definitely recommend to do so. I mean, geez, I mean, you know, a steep 500 million
Yeah.
is what he's asking for. So um, I'm sure he has a case because the documentary that is in question, I believe, spoke about some topics that weren't actually true to the fullest. So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that he has to do that. However, that's the part of business. So I wish the best for the brother, and I hope he does get that. I'm sure they probably, if he doesn't get it all, he'll get the settlement amount of 300 million or something. Even through 300 million and five, that's still good.
Yeah.
As far
Yes.
as defamation.
And actually, I think I read that he's going to be giving some of that money to charity or something like that, which I thought would be very nice.
I mean, yeah, would be nice. I mean, would be good for him, of course,
Yeah.
because you don't want to have to pay a lot of that back in taxes. So as well, and then also with the Drake one, um, that one is just like I think people just okay. So because right now, right, people are on, and I'm gonna just be clear too before because there's no bias here. Um, I'm a fan of both Drake and Kendrick as far as artistry goes. I'm not a type person that is on one side. Um, because they're both phenomenal artists, man. And I think because Drake quote unquote lost the battle, that people are feeling some type of way about Drake's lawsuit, even though it's really kind of identical to Chris Brown's lawsuit. It's defamation of character. He doesn't even have a dollar amount on there, but of course you could assume that he's going to be going for the same amount of money. Um, I think that the tricky part of that whole lawsuit with Drake is that I believe Kendrick and him are both on the Universal Music Group.
Yeah.
So as he's having this contract that he's already paid them back, I think like 400 million, and it's very quickly. He didn't have an album since 2023, so it's kind of like they're trying to make it to where if he goes negotiate again, they'll only give him like 200 million or something like that. If he never did the lawsuit, if it continued the way it was going, that's what probably was going to be happening. So that's why the lawsuit came about because he's like, no, these things are not true. I lost because you guys didn't think to dead this song before it got too crazy. Which, hey, I don't think that would have did anything because the song's about, what I'm saying. So it's just like, um, but I understand what he's doing as far as defamation because he's never been accused of you know I know there's a couple allegations and things online. I've seen the videos, but I think people fail to realize once you start to have access, people are going to start putting people in front of you,
Yeah.
and whether you like it or not, of course it's up to you to have some due diligence and kind of you know I guess assess every situation properly. But then again, like I said, access is access. So it's just like people are going to start putting people in front of you. That doesn't mean you go R. Kelly. That doesn't mean you go P. Diddy. you know,
Yeah.
it just means that they're going to be there and it's going to look weird sometimes, but that's what comes with having access. So,
Yeah,
I wish him. I wish him luck with the lawsuit.
I'm I'm glad I asked you because you're involved in the music industry. You're getting more and more deeper into it, and you're also able to bring insight that is unbiased. And down the line, you're staying true to yourself, and also you're really just keeping it, like I said, unbiased. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
also kind of shedding some light on that because that's something that's currently unfolding at the moment.
Right. 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 Yeah. No. No problem. I just I like to keep it unbiased just because it's just like everybody out there has is on one side or the other, and it's really even hard to differentiate when you're going online on Twitter. People are detectives and whatnot, so it's just like, look, man, there's one side that's accurate, there's another side that is accurate, but the whole grand scheme of things, it really helps everybody. If you look at it on Drake's lawsuit, it would help everybody if he did win. And I'm not just talking, black people. I'm talking the culture, everyone else culture. As far as Universal Music Group goes, we see when Sony did with Michael Jackson, it's really hard to say that Drake's lawsuit is not a good thing at all because he has a valid point. Um, and like I said, I love, They Ain't Like Us is really great. It's really great song. Did I appreciate, uh the stuff that was possibly not true? Of course not, and I only say possibly just because, I don't know. I don't know, these guys personally. Um, but I don't think if I was in that position or anyone would do the same thing Drake's doing because where that label shouldn't have been so proactive to put all those things excuse me, back up all those things. They should at least have some decorum and, considering that's their top artist, you know.
Yeah. So now I want to talk about another top artist, you, Hakeem Prime. We have we have you here, and we now I want to take this time uh, to direct our attention now on this new album, Detour Two. Can you walk us through the name
Yeah.
Detour Two?
Yeah. So like Detour 2, like I named it Detour because, everybody's listening to these top artists out there or your favorite main artist, whatever, whoever you're listening to. And I figured if you find me, it was a good detour. So that's why I named the first one that. And of course, with the second one, I feel like I was on a cusp. Actually, the biggest reason is I was doing a detour and I was going to do a tour for the first detour. And I had got paperwork and everything underway. Unfortunately, COVID happened 2019. Also, I got incarcerated. So contractually, I was able to save some, keep some of the deposits that happened um, initially, but ultimately the tour had to be squashed. That was very devastating to me. In fact, there wasn't going to be a detour two um, because of this. And I think in order for me to keep a positive light when I was locked up in there, I just started to make Detour 2. And it was because there was so much time that I was losing. And of course, with COVID, when people were incarcerated, they were getting their uh, court dates pushed 6 months away, 9 months away for even the smallest things. So I used this opportunity to write this thing. And man, was it annoying because when I was in there, I found myself singing the songs to other inmates or rapping it to other inmates because people just wanted to keep hearing it over and over and over again. So, having that experience to just have faith in writing it, I was putting a lot of my frustrations out on a couple of the songs. So the first song that was made was Loosely. Loosely is precursor to I'ma Let You Go. And it's about, you know, a breakup that I had with my child's mother and my perspective. And I tried it to make it to where it was fair enough to, for anyone to check it out and listen if they were going through the same thing. That, you know, this is what I thought, this is what I have went through. And without trying to bash her so much to where she's hurt, to just see my perspective and then get it out of my system. So then I also created I'm gonna let you go after completing that. And with those just two songs, I was able to let go of whatever baggage I had over the emotion of dealing with it. Um, you know, wasn't able to speak with her when I was in there. Um, and that, pumped me to keep making more songs. So then I made Rather Die. Then I made Love Rants. I had a First Day Out, which is called Truth Is. That's just an exclusive for SoundCloud. So the first track um, is a SoundCloud exclusive, and it's called Truth Is, and that's on still available now. So I just kept making those songs. Of course, I had the seven or six or seven songs, and then when I got out, I actually met with Barrel, which is Iron Bear Beats, and we crafted the last song, which is on the deluxe album called Throw It. And that felt like a masterpiece to me. So, just creating and curating those songs in confinement was uplifting for me. And it brought me to a new awareness that I wouldn't have had if I didn't complete those songs in there. So,
Yeah. So with this album, Detour 2, would you say that there is a main theme, or is there something that you're trying to bring awareness to in this album?
I think the main thing is, yeah, self awareness and resilience for self. I think that's literally my whole mo, is to create some resilience for myself and the listener. Um, I might evolve from that, but currently that's what I've been, portraying. Even like when I go back to the song again, like Try It Again, that was resilience. And so I think I know now my whole MO is just getting the listener some resilience for themselves and creating that awareness for themselves to push forward. Because maybe you may be like me and you're just a caring person who doesn't care that other people don't care, um, and also knows the strength in caring, you know, and giving, you know. So that's the whole thing with Detour 2, is that I'm a giving person, but I'm always going to have resilience for myself and and situations that I don't feel serves me properly. So, but without bashing it and being on such a biased side, I'm going to come through the middle with it and give myself an awareness that is unmatched.
Now, is there a track from this album, Detour 2, that you feel that during the creative process, this track pushed you to your creative limits? And when it was finally finished, you could say, damn, this is freaking, I love this.
Hmm, which song? That's a good question. I'm not sure which song that was off the top. I think, okay, let me go down the list really quickly. So we have Proof Is, that one was pretty easy. Then we have Rather Die, Flex, Loosely, I'm gonna let you go, and then Love Rants, and then Throw It. So the question was, which one pushed me to my creative limits?
Yeah, like we're or like maybe like push you and maybe even made you grow, and just one that was the most challenging, but at the end you're like, man, this song is just, it also made you grow as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be Loosely, because Loosely was so. touchy for me. Matter of fact, I'll be honest with you. I was writing "I'm gonna let you go," the verse for "I'm gonna let you go." So then from that verse, I created loosely. So, and that's why in the both those songs, I have references to a chess piece, pawn,
Mm.
because I was creating that at the same time. Um, it was really challenging because, again, trying to find the middle ground to speak about my situation with my daughter's mother and not trying to bash her too harshly, but to where she'd understand where I'm coming from and she understands my awareness about the situation. And, I get it. She doesn't have the floor. It's my song, right? But of course, you know, we all have trials and tribulations we go through. And I felt like that was just the best time to get that off because I was just currently dealing with it, you know, and there wasn't no, there wasn't no like blockage after that. Like I was able to get it out and it was gone.
Yeah.
I came to a new awareness. I forgave her. I forgave myself because I have to take responsibility for my actions. You know, it's 50% my relationship. So I made it a point to myself to at least say the things that I felt were not great in the relationship. Um, and I think I did a pretty good job. But that was the most difficult. Like I remember spending at least 4 days on that. And of course, when I finally got it out, because I knew I didn't want to make like it was really hard because I knew I didn't want to make a song that was so bashful that another female wouldn't want to hear it. You know,
Yeah.
so um, I had to really spend time. I took a lot of things out. Um, I took a lot of things out. I had to like kind of really understand what I was doing. So I had to keep coming to new perspective, new ideas, and new awareness to even write it on the paper and get it out and sing it properly.
Now I wanted to go to explore how the audience who want to listen to their music, where can they find your beats, your songs?
Yeah, you can find me on Apple Music, Spotify, um, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. All the songs are there, and check them out. I would really encourage you to check out Detour. Detour One is actually only on SoundCloud. I do have another album mixtape. It's called Signs. I really would highly recommend that one. I did release some songs from Signs on my YouTube channel. Still waiting on clearing for that to put them out on DSPs, but currently Detour 2 is available everywhere and a couple of my singles. So I have like over 30 songs that you could check out and understand where I'm coming from.
So on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, it's all just Hakeem Prime.
So YouTube is going to be youtube.com/ at Hakeem Primer, as
Okay.
well as TikTok is Hakeem Primer. And then so it's just Hakeem Prime with an R at the end. And then Spotify, or excuse me, SoundCloud, Instagram, Twitter at Hakeem Prime. That's HAKEEMPRIME. As well as you can check out my website, HakeemPrime.com, and you can find all my links there. Um, and there's going to be a couple songs playing in the back, Hakeem Prime Radio. You can find my merchandise on there as well.
All right, cool. Now, before we wrap this up, I just have about two more questions. And my next question for you is, are there any other upcoming artists, musicians out there that you suggest we keep an eye out for?
Yeah. Like especially in this area of Boise, Idaho. Um, you got uh, Yari Vatan coming out. You got Really Wins coming out. He's really dope. They're both dope rappers, and I believe Yari sings as well. You got um Zero One Kenobi, um Zeto. You got who else is out there? Um you got Lyrical Lachey, you got um dang, who else is out there? Oh, you got what's his name? Young Hive. Um Dang, who else is out there? There's a lot of people, man.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people.
is that all from Boise?
Yes, these are all
All
Boise
right.
artists. I can keep naming. You got Mac Dillon. You got you got Fresh Boy. You got well, we can go for days. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of artists out here in Boise, Idaho, that really should have the spotlight shined on them. I'm grateful that I was able to be noticed on a YouTube video, a couple of YouTube videos, um, and yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool that you're able to, you know, pop out so many names of artists who you're saying that deserve, some of the light and they deserve more attention. But it's also cool to know that over in Boise, Idaho, people have chosen you as being on the Mount Rushmore for, music artists. How did that make you feel when you saw that you were referenced?
Yo, man, like it's been a long journey. So I've seen a couple of videos here and there, and I don't really chuckle at it, but this one was great because I was right there next with Dogface and just a lot of my peers, and I think it went over like 20K views. So I'm really proud of the scene being able to see me for the talented, young brother that I am. It humbles me a lot to just make sure um, people like see me in the forefront and make sure that they, um, I guess that they're seeing the progression. You know what I'm saying, and they can vibe with the experience. I'm glad that the whole world was able to vibe with "I'm Gonna Let You Go" and "Love Brands" and um, "Rather Die" and all these songs that I created when I was just sitting in ACJ. Um, so it really it makes me feel great, man. I definitely appreciate everybody who, big ups me because I definitely do it back. It's been a long time coming. Like I remember when I first got out here in 2013. Um, this is like a common thing. People. It's such a small town that people see you and then they'll put you on the list. So I've been on the YouTube channel like I think a month in being out here. You know, and that's what I think I gravitated toward this place with a lot because people just will see you, they'll vibe with you, even though they don't know your story. So then when I was able to showcase my story and tell them where I'm from, who I am, it just got even more bigger. I was able to work with some politicians out here, with some lobbyists out here, and actually, I did the Enough is Enough student walkout um, with a nice young lady named Colette, and then I was able to do the March for Our Lives rally that they did. I was headlining that, and it just brought me like to real peace, man. Because at that time I did experience a death in my extended family, and it was a young baby. She was like 2 years old, and I had just had a daughter at that time, so it really like struck a chord. And so I'm glad they called me to do a speech, kind of share my experience and why I wanted to stand behind these kids who who knew, like, it's just like, hey, why are guns allowed, or people who are crazy or who shouldn't even have them, you know and I was just giving them right, like, hey, guns are allowed because we need to protect ourselves, but we shouldn't, there shouldn't be people able to go to these schools and do all this crap. There should be more rules on that. And I think they really took that in and appreciated what I had to say going forward. Because after that, it just blew up. I started to meet new people. Um, you know, yeah, it just went up from there. So I think having that recognition recently from, I think the guy's name is June Plug, really dope. really dope YouTuber, man. He makes great content. His content is phenomenal, and I just appreciate him for even finding me. Maybe he asked around, maybe he saw me on, a blog or something. Whenever it was, I appreciate him because, a lot of times, we don't know if who's listening, who's watching, or who's seeing. So now we know, we got confirmation, outside of Boise that, we moving. We got some motion, So I appreciate it.
So thanks so much, man, for coming on the show. And before we wrap up, my final question is for you, Hakeem Prime. Why is creativity so important?
Good question. So creativity is really important because it allows you to walk in your path. I believe that's literally the best tool that you can use to walk fully in your path. Without creativity, you don't have like your essence. Like you're not showcasing your essence. So, you don't want to be an NPC out here. You know what I'm saying? So having creativity allows you to effortlessly walk in your path and then to show your spirit that you honor it as well. So it's deeper than rap. You know what I'm saying? So that's the most important. That's why it's important.
Well, thank you so much, Hakeem Prime, for being here on Creativity Worth Expressing. And to the audience, please go check out the websites of Hakeem Prime, as well as finding him on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, and I'll be leaving links in the show notes. So if you can't find it, you can find it there for sure. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, Creativity Worth Expressing, and please share so that other people may also discover the awesome work, awesome creativity of Hakeem Prime. Thank you all very much. And thank you, Hakeem, for being here on the show.
No problem at all, brother.